Hi, I'm Pete, and this is an HK Now Store unboxing. So I ordered this puzzle, and it took exactly 2 weeks to get to me, which is phenomenal. And I'm probably one of the last people to get this puzzle. I've been watching on the various forums and on YouTube people getting the puzzle, but I thought I'd unbox it anyway. Just because, it's a lot of fun to post these things on my YouTube channel, even if everyone else has already unboxed theirs. Alright, so there we go. That's what we got. It says MF8 inside here. I'm going to pull this puzzle. Whoa, this is massive. I'm going to pull this out. Nothing else in the box. And off we go. Alright, so it's packed very nicely in a baggie, which is good because the box was looking kind of haggard from its long trip. And we see this nice thing that MF8 has done, making stands for these puzzles, and this is good for collectors, I guess. But it'll, it's kind of a nice little thing. Nice to be able to display our puzzles. Now, originally we had the Aton Star, which I already have, and when we got our Aton Star, there was this other thing. Oskar Icosa X, right? And that was kind of tempting and kind of interesting, but we didn't hear about it, and then poof, suddenly, a couple weeks ago, we hear about it. So that's what I'm expecting to find inside this nice stand here. I guess I'm going to need my knife again. Now I'm just going to slice this open. I know if I was a serious collector, I'd be steaming this open and I'd be having somebody open it for me, so it could be I don't really care about that. So what we have on here is MF8's logo, the main website, sorry, their web address, the main website, and then we have the shopping. So I guess you could buy these straight from MF8 as well. And then just Oskar with his signature. And the only other thing is the no babies, which is kind of good. And then this big warning here, so I guess we better read this. Avoid to put in, to translate it basically into Canadian English, it says avoid putting any parts into the mouth or a choke on it. You know what? That's really good advice. And then don't dismantle cube by force, which, that's just sensible, right? Okay, so let's get going. It says made in China. Now, how do we do this? Like I said, if I was a real serious collector here, I'd probably spend a couple of days working out how to get through that tape without damaging it. Good thing I'm not a real serious collector. Okay, I just mangled the tape. Okay, so we have some stickers here. Looks like a small packet of stickers, and I think that they put another small packet of stickers. Yeah, they put some more stickers in the bottom. Alright, so here are the stickers, and you can see they match the triangular faces. We've got 20 different shades. We should have 20 different shades. Okay, so this is the Icosa X, and we see the MF8 logo. Let me try turning it. It's a face turner. Okay, so wow, that's pretty smooth. It clicks into place. That's quite nice. Okay, and we see that the corners overhang. That's very, very interesting way of doing things. That's really kind of cool. Now we can compare this. I know it's not stickered, so it might be a little harder to see, but we can compare this to Aton Star. And to be perfectly honest, it's going to be an easier puzzle than Aton Star. And the reason is that it has fewer piece types, and the one piece type it has makes it much easier. It has these edges, two colored edges, that really makes this puzzle much easier because it gives you your color scheme right away, where on Aton Star you don't have the centers when you first solve it, and you don't have edges, so you have to start inserting the wide triangles as your first piece, but you don't have any color reference, so you have to go all around the puzzle and look for the corners, and then try to work out which colors are adjacent and so on. So it is very complicated, whereas with the Icosa X and also with the Radiolarian, it also has edges. And so all you do is your first step is solve the edges, which is a simple 3 cycle, and then you have all the faces. Then you can go in and set the wider triangles. These are regular triangles here, which I believe will correspond to the wide triangles on Aton star. And then the only other piece type we have on the Icosa X is the corners, the 5-sided corners, the same as on Aton star. So we don't have these pesky little 2-color points, which there's 60 of them on Aton star. There's 60 of them on this Radiolarian 3. There's 60 of them on their single color points, but there's also 60 of them on the Virgo's Pentagon, and also the little tiny things on the Vertex Turning Bauhinia. But they're all the same, and so you have to do that algorithm usually about 40 or 50 times at least. So you're spared that on the Icosa X. All right. Now, as far as the name, I guess there's been maybe a bit of question about the name. I listened to Oskar's video from when he announced it, and I decided that the way he said Icosa X, and I'm assuming that he would probably say icosahedron as well. So I'm just figuring that because I say icosahedron, I will call this the Icosa X. And if I'm wrong, well, I guess I'll be wrong. So there we are. Without any lube, and I don't really see any lube. I think there's dust actually coming out there. It actually seems to be turning quite nicely, and I'd rather not lube it until I get the stickers on, just so it'll be easier. Now, one of the weaknesses of these is that it's fairly easy to spin this corner. That happens, and it can happen if you're turning really fast. You can, with the palm of your hand, you can turn the corner. And what'll happen, and I've had it happen on Aton star before. I've had it happen all the time on the Shapeways. You can see how easy this is to turn. So the way I play the game is, because the corners have to turn in pairs, if I end up with one that's turned out of place, I'll just turn it back with the assumption that I accidentally turned it. That's the way I play the game. I don't stress over the corners getting rotated. Once I do the corner rotation step, if I have one that's out of place, I know that it's just an error in the mechanism, and I'll just snap it back into place. Okay, they all do that, and it just has to do with the way the mechanism works on these puzzles. And I think I would rather have the puzzle and understand the limitation of the mechanism. That's not a big deal. As long as the puzzle turns smoothly and I'm able to do my algorithms smoothly, I'd rather have that. If it was catchy or something, I'd be kind of annoyed. Well, let's take a look at the stickers that we get. Now, keep in mind, both of my icosahedral puzzles have Olivér stickers on them. And particularly, I think that Olivér set for Aton star is absolutely gorgeous. It is perfection. And Olivér been away on vacation while I was waiting for this puzzle. So this week I'm going to contact him and see if he'll make me a set exactly the same colors as Aton star. And if he will, then I probably won't bother with the factory stickers, which means that this will kind of sit for a month or so. But that's fine. I have other puzzles to work on. But let's take a look at the factory stickers and see, because they may have done a bit better job. Some of the other ones, the ones that came with Aton star, had an awful lot of greens. There were, I think, maybe 5 different greens. And on a puzzle like this, it's really hard if you have similar colors, the same shade, or different shades of similar colors, because if you get an edge, it can be very hard to tell how that edge goes. If you have similar colors. So I see that they don't have quite so many greens, at least so far. But, okay, we'll get some more of these. Okay, we have the MF8 and the Oskar logo right there. that's kind of nice. Okay, and white. Okay, so just for whatever reason, they put a few more. Quite a few transfer sheets. I don't think I'm going to use those. I might give one of them a try just to see how it goes, but usually I just put them on by hand. And yeah, it's a lot of stickering, but you know, you sort of have to love stickering. I used to. So 2 different shades of, and it's not really a dark purple, it's kind of a pinkish color. Matter of fact, I don't actually see a real strong purple here, no. So yeah, so you know, those purples, I think we might be able to do better on the purples. I mean, they'll certainly do. Let's see, what else? Okay, and the blues, yes, you see these 2 blues, I don't know if they look actually quite a bit different on the video. I'm looking at the preview on the video, and they do look quite different, but these 2 shades, especially if you get them right on the puzzle, the black puzzle, they are going to look very, very close. So that means you've got to separate them, right? And you know, for those of us that like to do a color scheme of warm on one side, you see I have all the warm colors on one side, and then all the cool colors on the other side. It is nice to have enough shades that you can put them adjacent, like these 3 greens, but there's no mistaking those 3 greens, right? And I don't think I have too many blues. There's just, yeah, there's a super dark blue, a mid blue, and a really light blue. So you can really tell the difference between those blues even when they're on the puzzle. Okay, and this is Olivér set of stickers. Whereas these blues, I'm not sure that that's going to be the case, that once they're on the puzzle, I don't know that they'll look quite as distinct. Okay. So, but you know, I have to commend MF8 anyway for at least trying, because you know, we don't have 5 greens, which has happened in the past, and that sometimes can be disappointing. And you know, I think that actually these reds look like they might. So I got a pink, a mid sort of pink, and then a nice red. 2 different color oranges, fairly distinct, not so bad. So who knows? Maybe these would work quite nicely. And I've seen some people's puzzles that seem to be all right. And then the white, the gray, the yellow, the tan, and then that whatever that brownish color is. So that's it for the Icosa X for now. What I'm going to do is go off and try and get some Olivér stickers for this, and if not, then I'll use the factory stickers. But one way or the other, when I come back, I'm going to have this all stickered, and then I'll show you a bit more about it and how it turns, and give you my final initial impressions. Alright, well, here we have my Icosa X, and it's been nicely stickered with Olivér stickers. I am so happy that I decided to hold out for Olivér stickers. I contacted him right after I made my initial video, the initial part of this video, and he came through very, very quickly. It was just a very great process to get these stickers. What I asked Olivér for was a set of stickers that were similar to, they didn't necessarily have to be identical to the beautiful set that he sent me for Itan Star, but just something similar. And I really think he came through just marvelously. I'm really pleased with these stickers for the Icosa X. Now, as far as the turning and the mechanical part of the Icosa X, you know, I've had a chance to see what other Icosa X users, owners, solvers have said about this puzzle, and I think I agree. Really, one of the weaknesses of the puzzle is the very easy way, if you're turning it, that these corner pieces can move. They really do move very easily. But with that in mind, if you're careful turning, you know, I think that issues with turned corners can be minimized. As far as turning goes, it's still fairly stiff. I haven't really done much with it. I put a little bit of lube on it. It seems to be loosening up, and the turning is really fine for this type of puzzle. I would rather have a tight puzzle than a loose puzzle, because one thing is that it lines up quite nicely. I don't have to worry about misaligned pieces. Now, I have heard that there are some issues with misalignment, where the corners somehow go funky, and then things get jammed. I haven't experienced that, but I really haven't been playing with this much. I certainly will be after this, so maybe I'll be able to make a follow-up to my initial impressions video, and give you some more information. One of the things I've noticed about the Icosa X, I did say that it's going to be a relatively easy puzzle to solve. Not an easy puzzle, because it is an icosahedron after all, but it should be, compared to some of these other puzzles, relatively easy. One thing I will point out is the difference in jumbling between the other icosahedral puzzles. So, for example, Aton's star. If I want to do some jumbling on Aton's star, let's see. I can get a fairly big chunk of one of the faces jumbled. Now, the jumbling really doesn't do anything. I haven't found any particular use for jumbling on these puzzles, but it's kind of an extra bit when you're scrambling it. But contrast that to the rather very, very shallow jumbling on the Icosa X. So this is, let's see here. Well, this is going to be it right here. Oops, and as you can see, I've managed to dislodge a corner piece while I was turning it. So that's what you're looking at for the Icosa X. It not only is it not very much, it's just two little pieces. It looks a little kind of wobbly here. I'm not really sure, especially mid-turn. So yeah, see, when you're sort of mid-turn, it's pretty loose. But that's the jumbling. It could add some element of interest to a scramble, because especially with all that overhanging that the corners do. Anyway, that was just one thing that I noticed. So really, that's it for my my follow-up. I am happy with this puzzle. I think it's going to be a great addition to my icosahedral puzzle collection, and it certainly looks great. And I'm glad I got it, and I'm looking forward to other icosahedral puzzles from MF8 and anyone else that wants to make them. Alright, well, as always, I appreciate your comments, your questions, your suggestions, so please leave me some feedback in the comment section, and until next time, thanks for watching.